female radical lawyer. Individually, if you see those roles, I think all of those are very challenging. Being a female, being a radical, and being a lawyer. And when you combine all of that, it's like people don't get it.
Breaking various social and power structures of patriarchy, capitalism, religious fundamentalism. Feminism for me is not just about women empowerment or freedom, but for me it is the right to fight for freedom of every human being to live freely without being subjected to morality or to roles defined by the society.
Our job is about fighting. We fight, we challenge the status quo, we fight patterns of power, we fight in courtrooms, we sometimes challenge our clients, and to be in a space where there's just such a remarkable absence of that. That's such a relief.
What they have to face if they come into a courtroom as the lawyer facing judges with their clients. It's mind-boggling to me that anyone could think that feminism is something that's not needed anymore, because it's so clear that there is this pattern across all these many countries that takes them as less serious, not as competent.
We definitely still face structural discrimination, and there are many things which are not great even in Germany or in Europe, and where still a lot of work has to be done.
When you go to court, it's still very much an old boys club, and so you still get a lot of questions regarding, you're quite young, how old are you, why are you not married, how many kids, you know, it might be too late to have kids, and you encounter those questions from lawyers in court, and yet, you know, like, you're there as a professional. It always seems to go back to, why are you in this field and not doing something else which society expects you to be doing?
So I was representing the victim. There were occasions where first you are a junior, then you are a girl, and then you are representing a woman. Even if you are raped, the social, construct will put the blame on you in many ways or the others.
I had a male colleague who did the exact same thing, spoke to the very same individual. Somehow, he was heard. And for those few seconds, I actually thought, yeah, it does take a man for people to be taken seriously. And it only hit me later on in the day, like, that is unfair.
That experience made me realize that as a woman, I constantly have to prove that I am capable of doing things, instead of people assuming that just because I have the qualification, I can actually do the job.
Te enfrentas a toda la sociedad, incluso a toda tu propia familia, y te vas enfrentando a ti misma con lo que te enseñaron y con lo que fuiste educada. Es muy difícil ser abogada en México.
La discriminación ha sido un problema estructural que hemos tenido en varias generaciones atrás, ante un panorama de una discriminación naturalizada en diferentes niveles. El cambio que yo sí percibo actualmente con esta nueva generación es que las jóvenes defensoras de derechos humanos están mucho más seguras de que pueden contar con otras defensoras de derechos humanos en este proceso de diálogo y de entendimiento. Que sigue siendo muy difícil asumir este proceso, y que sigue siendo también un proceso muy doloroso el asumir que, aunque somos abogadas y defensoras de derechos humanos, también seguimos siendo discriminadas.
For us also it's getting very difficult because we're already considered very anti-state, anti-national, and then we're also like confusing their patriarchal structures also, that okay, what are these women doing? Like every day people say you're not going home, why it's been a year, you should go back home and take care of your families, these are not the cases you should be doing, and these are strong cases. It's like, all right.
On one level, I'm a wife. On another level, I'm the mother of 4. And then on a separate level, I'm the attorney of thousands. A lawyer who's a man is able to do more than I do. Not necessarily because they are better, but because they have less obligations. And that's the problem, is the way that society is structured. We are fighting to change the world. But unfortunately, the world as it is doesn't allow us that space. Within our sector, we're not making the space for women to actually make it. I think most women, and I've seen this, most women actually just rather decide to go work somewhere else. But the world needs human rights lawyers now.
Eso implica reconocer justamente que debe haber cambios en el poder, tiene que haber cambios en el acceso a diferentes tipos de labores, tiene que haber una equidad salarial, tiene que haber una equidad en compartir las labores, tanto en la oficina como en la casa, como en la calle.
It needed to be a safe space for the initial discussion, but definitely in the future it should include men so that they can understand why we feel how we feel, because they might not even realize that what they are doing is wrong. It's a cultural thing. Show the clients that you respect me enough to say, what is your opinion? What do you suggest? What do you advise?
The first meeting that I went to with the sector, in fact, I left that meeting feeling like I don't belong here. And I could see in the human rights sector, purely because people were like, immediately they were like, they just didn't see me. You know, they didn't see me because I was a black woman, they didn't see me.
It's an uncomfortable topic, right? The way in which gender and race relate to each other. Knowing that I have had access to opportunities that the majority of my colleagues haven't. That uncomfortableness of simultaneously knowing what it's like to be oppressed as a woman and knowing what it's like to benefit from oppression as a white person. And so it's always been clear to me that what matters is what I do with that discomfort. But what I've realized recently is it's not just about what I do with it, but how much I generate it.
Cómo usar ese privilegio como una herramienta para ayudar a visibilizar a las defensoras que no tienen acceso a ese privilegio. Tenemos que transformar la situación de la diferencia entre el privilegio y el no privilegio a una discusión desde el marco de los derechos humanos.
We are living through such troubled times.
A million tiny messages. Appease, accommodate, adapt.
For someone to hold.
And if I dare to speak my truth, I assure you I long to witness yours. So I will not ask forgiveness for the boldness of my desires. I will not cower at the task of rebuilding our world.
Can I be feminine and effective? Can I be feminine and still be respected? And can I be a feminine and still be a leader? It's one of those things. See, these are the questions that you have to ask.
There are still very strong ideas about what femininity or masculinity is. And this is something where definitely also men are affected. It all is gendered. And there are these expectations. And that can be extremely oppressive.
Get some kind of consensus on the world that we want to live in, so that we can then deconstruct the world we have and then reconstruct a different type of world. And so feminism for me is about that. It's about it being okay that we have a sort of a modicum of consensus about what we want the world to look like in terms of gender and sexual orientation and the freedom that should be associated with that. And then it being okay if all of us have a different route to get there.
Que lo que para mí alguna vez fue una carga, que puede ser un título de derecho, tal vez puede representar tanto para alguien, y que eso es impresionante. Uno tiene la oportunidad de decir que yo puedo ser una herramienta y una palanca para otras personas, y eso me inspira mucho.
Before this, I didn't have like a network where I could count on another woman to help me out and to share my experiences and to say, what do I do? How do I deal with it? And I found that the people who were listening to me were actually not only sympathetic because they're women, but they had experienced similar things because of the type of work that they do, and it made me realize that I'm not alone, and that on its own was honestly very empowering.
Ese punto es estratégico para las nuevas generaciones, el poder hacerlo visible de nuevo, el poder hablar sobre eso, el poder crear estrategias que involucren no solo a las mujeres, sino también a los compañeros y a los colegas que juntos estamos construyendo y apostándole a a procesos de mayor democracia y de mayor igualdad.
Because I see senior lawyers and I keep wondering how the hell do they keep going? But still, they have not stopped. They have sacrificed so much for being where they are and for us also where we are. Like, it's all because of the other struggles which people have done for so many years. And I think that's one thing I want to keep reminding me that, okay, don't get disillusioned. Like, don't lose patience. You need to keep going on.